What's up, subscribers? Sunjutsu here, and today I have another total assembly video. I know I haven't made one of these in a while. I just been very busy with work and family, and so I haven't been able to get in contact with any of my Total War YouTuber colleagues in a long time. So I wanted to go ahead and I feel like this topic itself deserves a total assembly video, and I had no other person in my mind that was more perfect to kind of give me an insight on the lore and their opinion about it than Arch Warhammer. How you doing, Arch?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Well, I've been looking forward to making a video with you for a while. I just, like I said, been very busy, so this is perfect. I wanted to go ahead with this video. Again, viewers, you guys know my position on this. I called it the Nemesis system, but it's not. That's not even an official thing. I just called it that. And so there's been a little bit of dispute about it. And I want to go ahead and talk to Arch, the man who knows all about the lore, and let us know exactly, and let me know exactly, kind of where this falls in the lore, and if this system is very lore centric, and the way they pronounce it in the blog, sacrosanct, if it's sacrosanct to the actual Total War Warhammer. So, first of all, Arch, let me go ahead and ask you, what in the lore, when have when have factions taken over regions that aren't indigenous to them, or like they shouldn't be able to hold, or they shouldn't be able to take? Do they do that a lot, or do they do that at all?
Well, that depends on your definition of often. According to Creative Assembly, the humans have never been able to hold settlements in the Badlands. This is false. The human empire of Strigoi held the Badlands against the Orcs for quite a while. They also claim that Monorska would be impossible to settle because there's just fishing villages off there, fishing villages populated by humans, so I don't see why anyone else can't go there. And the dwarves, well, they used to own most of what is today the Empire. The elves used to hold the other half, so I don't really see any reason why they suddenly decided they can't anymore.
Okay, so in the lore aspect, they've taken lands before. They just, like, Creative Assembly, or the way that they're coming out with Total Warhammer has said that they really can't take these lands, or it's not lore specific. So going deeper into that, in the lore itself, if they do take a land that, like, say, like the Empire going to the Badlands, like, what are some of the things that they face in holding it, and like the consequences of settling in there?
Well, in the case of the Badlands, the most obvious problem is the fact that there's a lot of orcs around. But if the orcs can be pushed out of the area, as happened with the Empire of Strigoi, then it's not a hospitable land. It's harsh, it's not easy to do farming, etc. in the area, but it's perfectly livable, as the Empire of Strigoi demonstrated. Main problem for Total War game? Orcs, definitely. Random incursions of orcs and goblins, tribes like that would have to be dealt with. The land itself is not outright hostile, and there's not like monster plants or anything trudging around the place, or giant animals, so it's just conquering the land, which is something human civilization has done quite a few times before.
Is there food? Like, can they grow food? Can their population grow? Like, that was one of the main things people were saying, that that they wouldn't be able to grow food. The population wouldn't grow at all.
They are able to grow food, but it's hard. For example, the High Elves during the War of the Beards, or War of Vengeance, whichever one you ask, had several settlements in the Badlands that grew food through a complicated irrigation system. Like I said, it might not be easy, but it is far from impossible.
Okay, so when it comes to the game, I was thinking in that the way that I had explained it to my viewers, or people who are just, just glanced onto the video or my videos, but that the way I would want it would be, you have the choice of taking whatever land you want, but if there are consequences based on lore, such as like roving bands of orcs, or in the chaos waste, like your settlement would always be like at 100% chaos, something like that, that there should be your consequences to make. So if you take those lands, you should know, like, oh, well, I can't really grow my population, or I can't do this there, or this will happen if I go there, but you should at least have the choice. Do you think that we should get that choice in the Total War Warhammer game?
Certainly, if you are able to drive the orcs out of the Badlands, for example, and you are willing to commit to the expenses needed to maintain it and to build the infrastructure, Why should you not be allowed to do this? It's not like it's impossible in the lore either, so I don't see why you should be limited.
Okay, and when it comes to factions fighting each other, especially the Empire and the Dwarves, if you, I'm not exactly sure in the game if you're going to be able to 100% be able to do this choice because of the fact that they are basically allies. But in the lore, have they? I don't know. I didn't read up anything about it, but have they been at war with each other at all? Like, have humans fought dwarves?
They've fought each other quite often, but only for minor skirmishes. There has not been outright war between the two factions, so the dwarves have never sieged Altdorf or vice versa.
Oh, okay. So basically, just little tiny skirmishes, I would assume, at their borders.
Yeah, they're perfectly fine with killing each other. That's not really the problem. It's just that there has not been the impetus to launch a full scale conflict between them.
Okay, and then this brings me into one of the things that I had major trouble with when they came out with this block. Now, I am for, I mean, obviously, like, I'm for going a little bit more lore centric because this is kind of like a first fantasy Total War game and everything like that, and the way they're explaining it. But why can't the Empire take a dwarf hold and hold it and tax the people there and control those holds, and the greenskins can?
There's absolutely no reason for it. It's one of the most ridiculous things I've read. I believe the wording he used is that humans can't hold underground fortresses, it just wouldn't feel right. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't give a shit about your feelings. There's no reason why humans cannot take this fort. In fact, there's no reason why the humans would not take this fort. It is a massive, fortified place that gives them protection and safety against the roving bands of orcs or whatever, and usually there are tons of mines there. Tons of valuable minerals, tons and tons of loot, and even farmsteads built underground growing mushrooms. There's absolutely no reason why humans could not live here, and there's no reason why humans wouldn't live there.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that because the whole it being a stronghold and being a defensive area, like that's what I was thinking originally when I was reading this, and they're like, "Oh, Empire can't hold Dwarven because it wouldn't feel right." They did. I think they said something, or she said something around that, like it wouldn't feel right. I'm thinking, wait a minute, but it's like a stronghold. It's like it's a fortress. Why wouldn't they take it? I'm assuming that it would be a little slightly. Is it better protected? Like the holds, are they better built to withstand attack than say an Empire fortress, or is that
Considerably more. It depends, of course, on the size of the Karak, but even the smaller Karaks are built to withstand years of siege if necessary.
okay? All right, so yeah, so I was wondering that why would the Greenskins be able to take the holds and control them, and then the Empire wouldn't? So going like just kind of moving along into the Greenskins themselves, how would they hold a Dwarven hold? Would they tax it? Would they just hold it just to hold it? Like what would be the benefit from taking it besides just taking it away from the dwarves?
As far as the orcs are concerned, when it comes to dwarf holes, is one, it's a large hole in the ground which keeps the rain off, and two, there's precious minerals in there that they can force the goblins to dig up. It's not like they're going to go around taxing the local populace. They will eat the local populace, and then they will just use it as a giant cave, essentially.
Okay, so if they do go in this direction, and they're saying that they're lower centric, so you're saying that the greenskins shouldn't be able to gain any taxes or like at least not in the formal sense from these holds, and should there also be a devastation like counter against them holding it, like they'd be killing all the dwarven population, and then when if they ever leave, would there be like a penalty on that land that they have to like you have to like get that population back, I guess? I don't know, like what would be the repercussions of them taking those lands, and how would that be best fit in your opinion?
The only thing that would happen if orcs were to take a dwarf hold is that they would eat all the dwarves inside the hold. The dwarves would escape, they have several escape passages, and a fair few of them would get out, but there would not be any dwarves living inside. There might be some that was taken slaves, but dwarves make remarkably bad slaves, somewhat stubborn as they are. So it's not like they would be taxing the dwarves.
uh,
If the only reason this could really work from a lore standpoint is if the population went from to zero, essentially, and then was repopulated by orcs. It doesn't necessarily have to get to zero, but the population that is there wouldn't be dwarves. They would be the goblins brought in by the orcs to mine the precious minerals which they want.
Okay, all right. So, see that's kind of why I was confused with their route going this way because when they had the green skin, I don't know if you, well, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. The green skin campaign trailer, they showed a green skin army taking a dwarf hold, and then it changes the way it looks into a green skin. Like it almost looked like. I mean, I thought it looked really cool. Actually, I was really excited about it. It looked like, and it could be implemented in any Total War where you just take a land and then it's like you plaster your own native culture, I guess, on it. Just and then I thought that that's the way it was going to be. You could take any land, but you would just be repurposing it to your faction's needs. But that's kind of why I was upset about it. Now, what do you think about that whole when you take a land and then you like the way the cinematic was, where you just it just kind of looks like yours on top of theirs?
Well, that looks really good because when the orc takes a hold, they would start doing that. It's not because they do this out of any sort of agenda. It's not like they raise a flag, so to say, because they want to raise a flag. They build idols to Mork and Gork over whatever they can. They shit all over the place. They hang dirty drapery around the place. They essentially just try to ruin the place.
Oh wow, so like the sanitation would probably be pretty low if they take one of
Oh
those
yes,
lands. Okay,
the
okay.
orcs have never heard of the term latrine.
Okay, so now going into the vampire accounts, which you've heard very little about, which actually they probably deserve a video of their own later on, but the vampire accounts, can they, I guess when they have they conquered, because it seems like I've read up on them a little bit. Like I said, I'm not 100% like a lore master. I'm more of a lore apprentice, but it seems like they're very contained in that little tiny area. Like they look like their country is way smaller than the other territories or the other races that have territories. So have they expanded into a vast empire before? I'm assuming the answer is yes, but like, how would that work with them, like specifically?
Well, in fact, the vampire counts did hold control of quite a bit of the empire for a while, not entirely through military means, but through diplomatic means.
Okay.
They have actually taken over parts of it through peaceful negotiation. It's about negotiation. Essentially, one of them declared themselves emperor during the War of Three Emperors.
All right. So, and what I've read about the vampire counts is that it's like they have in their territories regular humans that are, I guess, paupers, like villagers, like very poor. And so, if they take over new lands, would they supplant the government with vampires, and then make the current, I guess, ruling class or whatever into just regular paupers? Or I don't know if maybe I've read that wrong, or that's what I'm asking.
They have a human population which is pretty much the same as anywhere else in the Empire, essentially. They are just the normal farmers. They live and work pretty much as normal under the other Empire states. In fact, there are less taxes because the vampire counts don't require nearly as much upkeep. The only real difference is that they will require a levy of blood slaves, essentially.
That's pretty cool.
That is the biggest difference. In fact, they've even taken over a dwarf hold. In fact, I'd like to mention one thing
Yeah.
about the blog, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
Because they wrote that, with the exception of Skaven, no other races occupied a dwarven Karak. And I'm quoting here, which is bullshit, by the way. Nor would it make sense for them to. And then he goes on to disprove his own argument, saying, yes, I know Neferata, a vampire countess, invaded the dwarf city of Silver Pinnacle and is still there today. I just love the kind of writing there. He argues that no race would ever take a dwarven Karak, except for this example.
Joey's actually a girl.
Oh, excuse
Yeah,
me.
it's a girl, and I know she has a channel, and I know she's very much into Warhammer, so that's kind of why. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to explain the reason that they went this way, and then she's trying to, because I know she's into it. Maybe it would seem more like plausible if she was explaining the reason why. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Kind of. I just don't. She's making an argument, and then she's immediately disproving her own argument. I don't know how you make that make sense.
Well, apparently a lot of people thought that this was a good explanation because I don't know. I've had I did have a little run-in with another YouTuber on this, and basically I just gave my idea on three sentences that one of the CA people said, and then he put me on blast saying that it wouldn't make any sense. He actually, that's the reason kind of I wanted to go out for you, reach out to you because not to put anyone on blast or anything like that, but because I know you are, I would call you a lore master at this point, but with Warhammer, and he had stated that, oh, if Arch Warhammer would agree with me that, you know, this is more lore, this and this and that. So that's kind of the reason I wanted to reach out for you, because you know a lot about the lore. Do you think, not to summarize everything up real quick, but do you think that this is a proper system? Just to summarize everything.
No, I think this is a very bad system from both a total war perspective and from a lore perspective. There's no grounding for this in the lore. The claims that humans can't go into the Badlands, or the orcs can't, you know, because one of the things they got right is orcs will not take over a city and like levy taxes. But just as they will live in the ruins of a dwarven Karak, they will happily live in the ruins of an empire town. There's really no difference between the two, and the fact that the vampires can't go into dwarven Karaks when they have, on in fact multiple occasions, is even more ridiculous. And from a gameplay perspective, well, it railroads you, doesn't it? You have... It doesn't matter if they go like, oh, but you have a lot of territory. Yeah, I don't care about that. You have taken away territory that I could otherwise take for arbitrary reasons.
I honestly was really never like I was at first, but once I played Attila and I used the raise system, and I saw the AI using it. I was immediately against it. I was like, oh no, the AI literally will make barren wastelands, like, you know, in the actual campaign map, just because that's just the way the AI is. And if you use it, I don't know, it was just something wrong about destroying certain areas of the map so nobody can go on them. I mean, it sounds cool in theory, and maybe it might work a little bit better with Warhammer, but at the same time, it just makes it so like the campaign map looks like it's got chickenpox or something like that. I don't know. What do you think about this whole raising? Like instead of being able to occupy some places, you would just raise it.
Well, it's another one of the ridiculous things, because they said that the Chaos Horde don't they raise. Perfectly makes sense. The Chaos would not settle, because they're Chaos. They're primarily demons and people that just want to destroy the world. They're not going to settle down and start making knittings now, are they? However, the idea that the Empire would raise a Dwarven Karak... First and foremost, how the shit do you raise a mountain? Secondly, why? There are endless amounts of precious minerals there. Iron, steel, gromrin, mithril, gold, silver. Are you seriously telling me that an Empire Count would wander into a Karak, see veins of gold stretching off into the distance and go, nah, just fucking burn it, nobody cares.
Can't use it. You know what? Burn that too. You know what? I didn't even think about that. How do you raise an underground fort? I guess you could maybe knock down the cave that it's built in, and I don't know. But then how would you raise that back
I have a wonderful
up?
mental image of a pompous Empire nobleman just pointing at a rock face and a bunch of peasants with pitchforks and like torches and stuff, just like, it won't burn, sir. Try harder.
Yeah, no, right. Try harder. Just go for the base. Just try. You're not doing it right. All right. You know what?
It'll catch eventually.
Okay, so the last actual faction that I wanted to talk about was the Chaos. Now, you just said, like, yeah, they got it right that they cannot settle. So the Chaos lands, should you or should you not be able to take them, in your opinion, and why or why not? And what are the consequences if you do? Well, I mean, the consequences if you don't, I mean, you just don't take it. But what are the consequences if you would take those lands?
Well, there's a slight difference between the two lands, because they've CF has lumped the two together, Norska and the Chaos Wastes. They are two very, very different areas. Norska is just a very cold place, like Kislev, inhabited by Norskans. Saying that nobody could ever live in Kislev is saying that nobody could ever live in Norway during the Dark Ages, and well, guess what? I'm here right now, so clearly someone's been here before.
Okay, so
it's like saying that I couldn't possibly live here because there's 25 degrees outside my window right now. But the Chaos Wastes, on the other hand, yeah, you're not going to be settling that because there's tons of immortal demons jumping around the place, which would make a permanent settlement somewhat complicated.
So, say if you would take that settlement, you would see rows of just hordes of chaos demons just attacking your town. And do you think that if you took a settlement there, and you wanted to take a settlement there, do you think that the proper consequence based on lore would be that hordes of chaos monsters attack you until either you decide to leave, or if you just want to keep the people there to keep them, you know, I guess if you have an army there to just keep the army gaining rank and gaining experience from defeating. Like, do you think that's like a better solution than just not being able to do it at all?
It depends on how far you go. According to the current map, you essentially can't enter the Chaos Waste proper. You can only enter the Chaos, the borderland, so to say. In which case, you should be fully able to hold that, no issues. If you go beyond Norska in the extreme Chaos Wastes, a permanent settlement would flat out not be possible because up there the laws of reality don't work. Like a stone wall could turn into a bush.
Oh, okay. So like, just like you wouldn't even like you could try it, but you would just be wasting resources on sending. You would just be sending people to, I'm assuming, to their deaths.
Yes, because the Chaos Gods have their reign over there, which means that whatever they want is instantaneously transformed into reality. If they for some reason wanted you to build a fort there, you could, but the moment they didn't want you, they'd turn your fortress into a collection of jellyfish.
Okay, so all right, so that kind of answers a little bit about the because I didn't know exactly how far deep into the chaos waste where it's just start doesn't make any sense. And honestly, I was thinking that the chaos lands. I was thinking that from what I've read, that'd probably be the one place that would be the hardest to settle. I guess if you wanted to settle there.
Essentially impossible, but Norska it would be hard, definitely. There are minor demonic incursions that far north, and of course there would be a very high rate of corruption, certainly. But it's not impossible. There are people that live there, and not all of them worship chaos either. Many of them worship deities that are based upon chaos deities, essentially the chaos gods in disguise. Other worship deities that are completely unrelated to chaos. There are still mutation up there, definitely, so there would be a lot of the mutation, there would be corruption, it would be hard, there would be very little soil to grow crops from. They would be poor settlements, but you could do it.
Okay, so all right, so that kind of answers that. Now, just to close out the video, you are, I mean, from I'm sensing from our interview slash debate, which wasn't really debate, an interview, you are against the system. So do you think if they have stated that the expansions to this game are just basically going to add to the map, which I'm for. I actually been thinking that that should be the proper step in the next direction for a Total War game, where you just keep adding to the map and the world and adding more, like kind of like what Civilization type games do. So do you think that if they add another expansion, say like giving you access to elves and lizard men and all this stuff, do you think that they can like change that aspect and let you conquer whatever? Like, do you think that that is a possibility? Like, wise, I guess. Do you think that you see that in the future at all, if with this game?
I'm not entirely sure, because honestly, I see no reason for this system to be implemented right now, so I cannot imagine why they would implement it in an expansion for pretty much any of the races. I The only way I could possibly think of even attempting to justify this would maybe be the deepest, darkest jungles of Lustria, which is so extremely hostile to human life that you could make an argument that you couldn't make a settlement in there. In the deepest, darkest reaches, there are human settlements around the coastline, but even that is like, well, it'll take a lot of work, but it's still not impossible. So I would not want them to implement such a system, ever, so I'm hoping that this is just due to some nonsensical reason on Creative Assembly's part, and that they will essentially patch it out with an expansion. I just hope we don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, I was assuming that maybe if they got enough backlash for this, maybe they would be like the next DLC or the next expansion. They'd be like, oh, well, let's go ahead again, and make sure that you can settle wherever you want. Either way, you guys, as the viewers, you guys know that I'm not really 100% for the system. I'm still playing the game. Just to, next Total War game. I'm a Total War channel. I'll still play this. I like the fantasy. I've liked so far everything that I read about the Warhammer verse. It's cool. It's uniquely, it's uniquely its own thing fantasy wise. I'm assuming it was people have told me it's one of the earliest interpretations of it's one of the earliest forms of fantasy. So I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play it. I'll see what it is. I'm assuming you're gonna get it too and play it.
Oh, certainly. I won't miss this for the world. Even if it's shit, I will have plenty of fun tearing into it if
Ooh,
that's the case.
that sounds good. All right, so basically that's it. Thank you so much for being part of this video. I definitely enjoyed talking to you. I am looking forward to making more videos, mainly because you are letting me. I watched your videos on YouTube before, and it's actually more refreshing being able to talk to you and you know kind of hearing it from the source. You know what I'm saying? Hearing it from you, some of the things that I had questions on. So I definitely am looking forward to maybe doing a little bit more, a couple more videos later on in the future. I know with Warhammer, I will be doing machinimas and short films. I could definitely use your expertise on the lore when it comes to that. Before I let you go, Arch, what faction are you most excited to play when it comes to this game so far? Now we only have like the 5 factions.
Hmm. Normally, I think I would say the Empire, just because I like their style, but I think I'm gonna say the Vampires, simply because I'm very, very excited to see how Creative Assembly has handled the Vampires, because they're a very unique faction to play.
I'm just hoping that the Blood Slaves thing is an actual thing, that they have that in there for the vampire accounts, because that would be freaking sick. But I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of worried on the way they're going to handle this, and saying that they're going to handle it a certain way because of lore. But then I'm talking to you, and that's not 100% the case. So I'm a little bit worried. But thanks again so much, Arch. Any parting words for the audience at this point in time?
I think I'd just like to say that the blog post was excellently written and is one of the best propaganda pieces and examples of narrative I think I've seen in a while. But it has no lore grounding, not in my opinion, and I think I could argue anyone out of it if they think otherwise.
All right, well, there you go. You heard it from Arch Warhammer himself. I've been calling him Lore Master. He definitely is. He knows his shit. So if you guys want to go ahead and know more about Warhammer, there's not another person that I would talk to than Arch Warhammer. Go on his YouTube page and comment on it or subscribe or just message him, whatever. And if you have him on Steam or whatever, on Skype or whatever, go ahead. I'm gonna put a link to his channel in the description below. Please check out his stuff, subscribe to him because he knows his shit. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. The comment of the day, or the question of the day: what do you guys think about this system? I know I've already made 2 videos, well, video and a half about this, but this is probably going to be the final one on this topic alone. So what do you guys think? Put in the comment section below. Let me know what your comments or concerns are, or if you guys are for this system, let me know. Let's see if we can get over 50 likes for our guest I guess Total War YouTuber, or our guest YouTuber here, Arch Warhammer. Let's see if we can get over 50 likes for him. Thank you so much for being part of Total Assembly video. And again, guys, if you like what you see here and you'd like to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to see more. And also check out Arch Warhammer's channel. This is going to be Sunjutsu and Arch Warhammer signing off. Dispute about it. And I want to go ahead and talk to Arch, the man who knows all about the lore, and let me know exactly kind of where this falls in the lore, and if this system is very lore centric, and the way they pronounce it in the blog, sacrosanct, if it's sacrosanct to the actual Total War Warhammer. So first of all, Arch, let me go ahead and ask you, what in the lore, when have factions taken over regions that aren't indigenous to them, or like they shouldn't be able to hold, or they shouldn't be able to take? Do they do that a lot, or do they do that at all?
Well, that depends on your definition of often. According to Creative Assembly, the humans have never been able to hold settlements in the Badlands. This is false. The human empire of Strigoi held the Badlands against the Orcs for quite a while. They also claim that Monorska would be impossible to settle because there's just fishing villages off there, fishing villages populated by humans, so I don't see why anyone else can't go there. And the dwarves, well, we game orcs, definitely. Random incursions of orcs and goblins, tribes like that would have to be dealt with. The land itself is not outright hostile, and there's not like monster plants or anything trudging around the place, or giant animals, so it's just conquering the land, which is something human civilization has done quite a few times before.
Is there food? Like, can they grow food? Can their population grow? Like, that was one of the main things people were saying, that that they wouldn't be able to grow food. The population wouldn't grow at all.
They are able to grow food, but it's hard. For example, the High Elves during the War of the Beards, or War of Vengeance, whichever one you ask, had several settlements in the Badlands that grew foods through a complicated irrigation system. Like I said, it might not be easy, but it is far from impossible.
Okay. So when it comes to the game, I was thinking in that the way that I had explained it to my viewers or people who are just, just glance onto the video or my videos, but that the way I would want it would be you have the choice of taking whatever land you want, but if there are consequences.
They used to own most of what is today the Empire. The Elves used to hold the other half, so I don't really see any reason why they suddenly decided they can't anymore.
Okay, so in the lore aspect, they've taken lands before they just like Creative Assembly, or the way that they're coming out with Total Warhammer has said that they really can't take these lands, or it's not lore specific. So going deeper into that, in the lore itself, if they do take a land that, like, say, like the Empire going to the Badlands, like, what are some of the things that they face in holding it, and like the consequences of settling in there?
Well, in the case of the Badlands, the most obvious problem is the fact that there's a lot of orcs around. But if the orcs can be pushed out of the area, as happened with the Empire of Strigoi, then it's not a hospitable land. It's harsh, it's not easy to do farming, etc. in the area, but it's perfectly livable, as the Empire of Strigoi demonstrated. Main problem for Total War
Based on lore, such as like roving bands of orcs, or in the chaos waste, like your settlement would always be like at 100% chaos, something like that. That there should be your consequences to make. So if you take those lands, you should know, like, oh, well, I can't really grow my population, or I can't do this there, or this will happen if I go there. But you should at least have the choice. Do you think that we should get that choice in the Total War Warhammer game?
Certainly, if you are able to drive the orcs out of the Badlands, for example, and you are willing to commit to the expenses needed to maintain it and to build the infrastructure, why should you not be allowed to do this? It's not like it's impossible in the lore either, so I don't see why you should be limited.
Okay, and when it comes to factions fighting each other, especially the Empire and the Dwarves, I'm not exactly sure in the game if you're going to be able to 100% be able to do this choice because of the fact that they are basically allies. But in the lore, have they? I don't know. I didn't read up anything about it, but have they been at war with each other at all? Like, have humans fought? What's up, subscribers? Sunjutsu here, and today I have another Total Assembly video. I know I haven't made one of these in a while. I've just been very, very busy with work and family, and so I haven't been able to get into contact with any of my Total War YouTuber colleagues in a long, long time. So I wanted to go ahead and I feel like this topic itself deserves a Total Assembly video, and I had no other person in my mind that was more perfect to kind of give me an insight on the lore and their opinion about it than Arch Warhammer. How you doing, Arch?
I'm doing good, thank you for having me.
Well, I've been looking forward to making a video with you for a while. I just, like I said, been very busy, so this is perfect. I wanted to go ahead with this video. Again, viewers, you guys know my position on this. I called it the Nemesis system, but that's not even an official thing. I just called it that. And so there's been a little bit of this